Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Am I in the, how do I look there? Looking good? Is it live?
Yes, sir.
Are we live?
We're live.
Facebook
Live
world?
and direct.
Facebook world. Brandon's Facebook world. VJ's much bigger Facebook world. All right. I prepared a statement to start this event we call Stop the Bleeding. The killing of George Floyd marked a turning point in America. Race relations, law enforcement, and voices of the marginalized. We're yet to see where all these shake out. Hopefully all will lead to a better society. One thing is certain though, that since that period of unrest in late May, one thing has turned for the worse: the street violence in Minneapolis. Here's what happened in just 1 week in June. On the 14th, 7 people were shot. Ooh. Yeah, little echo. Live echo. I've done that on set. That's even when the person who organizes it does it. On the 14th of June, 7 people were shot. One was hit in the head and he died. His name is Marcus LaShawn Banks. He was 22. On June 16th, 8 more people were shot in 4 separate incidences. The final 2 occurred right next to the 38th in Chicago Memorial for George Floyd. 5 days later was the Uptown mass shooting. I'm sure we all remember. 11 people were wounded. One also was killed that night downtown. His name was Cody Pollard. He was a barber from St. Paul. Then the next day, at least 8 more people were shot in 3 other shooting incidences. More recent, we had an 11-year-old boy Monday night, who was in a vehicle with his family coming back from Dairy Queen when a vehicle approached, shot inside, and hit him, and he had a bolt lodged in his back that had to be removed. The day before that, we had the story of Lanisha Helen Columbus. She was expecting. She was shot and killed, and they delivered the baby, who, last I heard, is still in the NICU. In a story by WCCO News, a quote from a woman named Michelle Hall in the Powderhorn neighborhood said, "We have shootings here all the time. That's all I've been hearing is shootings." A friend of mine on Facebook posted simply, "I can't walk at night." And then last night, well, early this morning actually, Twin Cities activist Lisa Clemens wrote on her Facebook, "Shootings, homicide, 50 rounds fired, 1 male shot and in surgery. Female came into the hospital with a gunshot wound, believed to be from the above shooting. Another shooting, 21st in Emerson, just happened. One person had his dreams snatched, a 26-year-old, or a man in his 20s actually, right in front of his mom's house with her home. Just why? 6 people shot, 1 killed. This morning, WCCO ran the story. Night of violence in Minneapolis ends with 6 people shot, 1 dead. By one measure, Minneapolis has had over 1,600 gunshots fired in the last month. 130 people at least hit by gunfire, and many of them are no longer alive. In the middle of all this, I asked community leaders I knew about arranging a gathering to spearhead an initiative to address this surge. Tonight is the start of that initiative. This is a streamathon we're calling Stop the Bleeding, where we'll discuss the surge in violence and what can be done to address it. There are many ideas to do so, but one that all these leaders had in common was this: we need more boots on the ground. So we're going live from the headquarters of the organization that has offered more boots and more security, more peace and comfort to communities than any other group in Minneapolis, MADDADS. Tonight, in addition to creating this space to discuss, we're raising money for them. Money that goes to their trained peace officers who've been doing this for decades. It breaks down to this. For about $30, MADDADS can afford an hour of security for a neighborhood, for a community. Tonight, during this streamathon, we're hoping to raise enough money for many, many hours of added security in these neighborhoods in Minneapolis. There's a link on my live feed And if you can't get it there, then on a previous post of mine, the previous post on my Facebook profile, you'll see the link to MADDADS GoFundMe. VJ, do you know the link or how they can get to, perhaps from MADDADS.org?
Yep, they can go to www.minneapolismaddads.org. They can go there.
Okay, and from there you'll see a link to their new GoFundMe. Right now there's $650 donated. They have a goal of $20,000. We're not looking to get that tonight. We're looking to add to it though. And so we hope to be chipping in here and there from viewers like you to contribute to the work that MADDADS does, specifically the boots on the ground that they provide. Please give, and please feel free to chime in as well with comments, questions, support. We'll be speaking tonight with a variety of members of the community, two of which you see right here. I'll introduce them in about 15 seconds here. They each have their own story of how they've been touched by street violence and a perspective of how to address it. That's the point. People of a variety of thoughts and opinions are together on this issue. We welcome all of you watching as well as participants into this discussion, and of course for the action to raise money for this situation. We start with the two men who led this initiative. VJ Smith, president of and the face of Minneapolis MADDADS, and Antoine Beek Sr., president of Face to Face and a former police officer here in Minneapolis. My name is Brandon Fertig, and I'm just honored to be a part of this initiative of Stop the Bleeding here in Minneapolis. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Brandon, and of course we want to thank you for starting this initiative. You're always doing something to help somebody else, and you do that all over the world. If anybody knows you, they know you don't stay still. You travel everywhere to make a difference. And so for us, we know that we all have to work together. Mm-hmm. It's critical that we all have to work together. And right now we are having a problem with unifying all our people to make something happen, to make a difference. We've all got experiences that I think that are valuable, that are critical, and this is a critical time. There'll probably never be another time like 2020, if you think about it. We have the virus, we have the destruction of the city, we have the young people that are killing each other, we have the mental health issues that are way beyond ever before. We have homeless people, 600 people in one park right now that are homeless with babies and children. We have an issue with parenting. We have an issue with our school system, and we have an issue with the system, period.
Yeah, right.
And then we add on to that, we have an issue with the police, and the issue with police officers that aren't doing their job the way they should do their job. So this isn't like 1968, where we were just fighting for equality. This ain't like that. We're fighting a multitude of things. So some people are afraid, some people are scared, some people don't know if they're going to make it. You know, they got their mask on, they still don't know if they're going to make it. There's so many things to be afraid of, besides the bullets, the virus, and the economic situation. So these are the things that we're dealing with, and I believe that we got a lot to talk about in a little bit of time, but I just wanted to say that part. Yes, sir.
Well, again, first of all, thank you. Again, I know, all the hard work, that you've done, and I, greatly appreciate, and I'm humble, to be sitting here, with the both of you guys and everybody else that's going to be involved in this initiative. I could not have stated anything better than what VJ has already stated. The only thing that I would add to that and kind of use this as a mental piece, if you will, is what we're trying to create here is similar to a highway. A highway has lanes, and all of those lanes serve a purpose. And those lanes come together at the end, to make sure that, there's no accidents or whatever the case may be. So we're asking for all of these other outstanding entities, that are out here doing fine work, to come and join us, in unison, in unity, to ensure that as we have these boots on the ground and as we are addressing these issues, they have to be addressed, at the same time. And then so therefore, those individuals out there that are doing your work, we can come together and have true transparency and true accountability for what it is, that we're trying to do. And that is bringing peace and harmony and stopping this bleeding and a whole bunch of other things that we're trying to accomplish here in the city of Minneapolis.
Vijay, you talked about all the different things that are happening right now, and that was kind of that's kind of the way we started this conversation when I reached out to you guys. And the problem with even trying to start this conversation is that it's so big. Because, I mean, one, you can just talk about violence in, say, North Minneapolis or something, and that's a huge conversation because it goes back generations and it involves all these areas of life. But now we're talking about the pandemic and we're talking about homelessness, so it's enormous. That's why I was encouraged how we came together and focused on one thing, like, look, we just need to, like, stop the bleeding right now, literally. And so, again, tonight's focus is on doing just that, and doing it by getting more boots on the ground, getting more security in the form of MADDADS. And so, again, the money you donate tonight to their GoFundMe, for every $30 you give, is another hour of security. And if you have any idea what it's like around Powderhorn Park, or in certain areas along Lake Street or North Minneapolis, you know that just the presence of one MADDAD, certainly a group of them, is absolutely huge. It would prevent a lot of these incidences that are happening right now. I mean, you might think, oh, what's the difference of one neighborhood patrol person there? But the effect they have on communities is something else. Actually, I want Vijay to talk. Can you talk a little bit more in case people watching this don't know exactly what MADDADS does in that role of neighborhood watch?
Well, and first, let me say this, because if you don't say this, you have to say this. In our community is so small. There are other organizations that are doing great work. I want to say congratulations, thank you, thumbs up, because we all have to work together. So this specifically, we're talking about MADDADS, just so people don't get confused, okay? The reason why our work is so valuable is because for 21 years, we've been doing it. Before I started MADDADS, he was the MADDAD. He was a security guard. I remember he was like a shorty. I remember him, right? And I talk about it all the time because I remember how he wanted to be a police officer. I used to talk to him all the time. That was his goal. And I was proud of him. I supported that. And when I seen him in uniform, I was excited. We needed more officers like him in our community. And from that day on, I was able to start MADDADS and then actually be a part of helping to recruit new officers into, and give them a chance to meet bigs and people like that. So to have those relationships are important. To have those relationships not only with community members, relationships with gang members, relationships with business owners, relationships with the parents in the community. Those are things that get built up over the 20 years. What makes us different is the fact that we've been here long enough to build all those relationships.
How do you build those relationships? I mean, you're going out there and you're meeting people, right? You're walking the sidewalks. 2
women in this room right now. Ebony, whenever she needs to do a vigil, she calls me. Whenever she wants to reunite with all the family, she calls me. Bunny, when her situation happened, I was there for her.
These are guests that you'll soon be seeing come into the frame here in a little while to hear their stories.
And so you multiply that times hundreds and hundreds of families that we've been able to connect with and give them support. And then you multiply that times hundreds and hundreds of incarcerated males that we've been able to connect with.
Yeah.
See, people don't think, they only think, oh, they're out there selling hot dogs or giving away hot dogs. Well, it's bigger than that. We're in the jails. We're in the schools. We're in the homes. We're building fathers. We're at the fathering center, making fathers better. So when you make an investment to us, you make an investment to that. And then we take the same guys out on the streets that were the problem and then turn them into the solution. At this very table, every Monday, this room is full of people that were a part of the problem.
Yeah.
And now they're part of the solution. So that's job creation.
Yeah.
So for every dollar you give to us, we take that and we create a job. We create a job for somebody. It's somebody. We just had a young man sitting here, was crying with his wife, and just said, "Everything I do, I fail." And we said, "Not this time, brother, because we're going to wrap our arms around you. We're going to put you to work. We're not going to let you fail." We can't do that with every male that we get, but this time we did it with him because we know what it's like to be a man and want to be a good father, but it seems like you keep running into pitfalls and you run into roadblocks. So we help as many as we can. So most of the men that sit at this table are men that would probably no one else would help. And we taught them and trained them and teach them how to be outstanding men. So when they put that green shirt on, people know they can respect and honor that person, and they will deliver a service to the community. And so then they come from the Salvation Army. They came from Powderhorn Park.
Mhm.
We got a guy right now that's at Powderhorn Park that signed up to start work on Monday. But right now, he's telling us everything that's going on in Powderhorn Park because he's on this team now. And so we don't. Your record does matter, but it has nothing to do with your future if you're willing to change.
The next thing I want to actually, Antoine, I'm going to ask you this in a little bit because you're a former police officer yourself, and I'm sure you had a lot of experience out there where then MADDADS would work with the police officers and you sort of had that cooperation. But real quick, I just want to ask you again, BJ, what is your presence like when a group of MADDADS go out there and they wear their green T-shirts or sweatshirts, and so everyone knows about them in these communities, and they're very well respected and all that. What kind of effect does it have on a community when the MADDADS are there? Especially like a situation maybe at Powderhorn Park where things are looking like they might get out of control. What does the presence of MADDADS do to a place like that?
I'll tell you what some prisoners told me in jail.
Okay.
I used to see y'all all the time. I'd wait till you leave, then I'd come back. So what does that mean? That means that I've seen y'all all the time.
Yeah.
But now I'm coming to your group because I want to get out of my cell.
That's like.
But let me do a testimony. The reason why I left because I didn't want to. I knew what you were there for, to create peace. So a lot of times we tell guys to write a report about what happened. They say nothing happened. Nothing happened because we were there.
Right.
See, sometimes your presence
is the good
is a
news.
saying that.
Yeah.
See, sometimes people can see police and go, "Hey man, police will just don't do this, just don't do that." Or if they see men that stand up for the community, let's just move around. It's a different sense, right,
Mm-hmm.
from what a police does and what a community member that is showing public safety and respect for our families. And we have relationships. I know your mama. I know your auntie.
Yeah.
I know them. So why you acting like that? Why you talking like that?
Mhm.
I can say that. Where officer says that, it's a problem. Especially now, where officer says anything, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So we can say, no, we can say something to you. We can do that. We can get in your face and tell you what you're supposed to be doing, what mom and them expect you to do, how they expect you to act, and the way you should be talking. And so that's a whole different. That's a whole different situation. So when you take a man from the streets
Mm-hmm.
and you take him back to his same neighborhood and says, "Hey, I'm down for what's good now.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not good, I ain't down for it. You can call me a snitch. You can call me whatever you want to call me.
Right.
But if it's good for my community, then I'm down for it." Because a snitch actually isn't somebody that respects and protects the community. A snitch is a criminal that tells on another criminal.
Like the transformation of individuals who might ordinarily have been in a life of crime is like monumental long-term work. I think right now a lot of people just again want to stop that bleeding. So Antoine, I want to, and this is what tonight focuses on is that obviously the long-term work is what's more necessary probably in the long run. But right now everyone sees the headlines, you hear these terrible stories. Can you talk a little bit about your experience as a police officer and maybe why you think the violence is increasing as it has, and then the role you saw MADDADS play from your perspective on this, when you were out there?
Well, first of all, I like to say I'm very pro-police, but I'm pro-good police. Okay, those officers that are out there, whether they're in Minneapolis, St. Paul, across the country, that are doing things that are not, positive and productive for their community, shame on them. And at some point, I'm certain that they will be exposed,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully that agency, will take the necessary steps to deal with that particular individual. But when we talk specifically about, Minneapolis PD or the city of Minneapolis and the interaction with MADDADS, and my outlook and opinion is going to be a lot different than most. Why? Because I knew VJ before, he was, developed MADDADS.
Mm-hmm.
I knew him before I was a police officer. So we've had many conversations. So by the time that he had developed MADDADS and I had became a police officer, we had years of history. So when we saw each other out there, it was, just kind of a total different type of interaction, more than just us supporting, what each
Mm-hmm.
other was out there doing. But I think that one of the things that I see kind of troubling the city is that when I was there, I think that we had a lack of community-oriented policing. And I get it, Minneapolis is kind of a major, metropolitan
Mm-hmm.
city that has a lot going on. and there's a lot of 911 calls that kind of come in, and these calls are prioritized as far as how they respond.
Yeah.
And then you only have a certain number of officers, and they have to respond to those accordingly. But that is where our mayor, city council, the chief of police at that particular time, and maybe even current, are failing to hire the amount of officers that are needed to get out here and do this community oriented work, which is definitely needed right now. And it's not only SROs in the school, it's not only the community response teams or whatever they're kind of being labeled as now, but we need to open up the doors to have maybe social workers coming right along with them.
Yeah.
We need to maybe have individuals from MADDADS kind of coming right along with them. I know back in the day they had a citizen police academy where they would have citizens from the community. Of course, they had to go through various little checks to make sure that they were okay to be able to sit in, because there was certain information that was shared. But they would go through a 6-week, 8-week academy, one night a week for about 2 or 3 hours or whatever it was, and they would get a kind of a bird's eye view, if you will, and kind of how and why law enforcement kind of responds to certain stuff. And then law enforcement also would get a bird's eye view of the community's views and opinions and kind of expectations.
Right.
That was kind of done away with a long time ago. I think that some of the things that could be done to also bridge the gap is when we are hiring new officers, we need, individuals from the community, whether it's MADDADS, whether it's Bunny, and I'm sorry, this young lady here, what's your name? Ebony, Miss Ebony. We need individuals like this to be part of the background phase. Whether it's the application process, whether it's their physical fitness process, whether it's part of their psych process, to also even be somewhat of a mentor, because I know how it is to be going through these necessary phases, and I may not be clicking, with one of my FTOs, but throughout my training, I'm being, told and groomed that I need to follow this lead, and if I don't, then I may not make it to the next phase. And someone that has put in all that time and effort and so on and so forth, you're not trying to lose your job. You got a family and kids and so on and so forth. I get it, but there's a lot of things I think that can be done, and I think also as this new officer is coming through, up until once they complete their probation, which is 1 year, they should have 1 year in order to move into the city of Minneapolis. There should be no reason why we have such a large number of officers living outside the city of Minneapolis, living outside the city, the Hennepin County, even living outside the state of Minnesota. Right? I mean, come on. There used to be a program, and it went away because for whatever reason, people, officers or whatever, wasn't taking advantage of it. But it wasn't just for officers; it was for paramedics, and it was also for firefighters, from my understanding. They would be able to purchase homes in these revitalization areas, at half the price. But this is how you get Officer Beeks and Officer Adams and some of these other good ones, that are out here in your community. So then therefore, you turn your hood into a neighborhood.
Does the presence of a police officer living in the neighborhood have a big effect on that neighborhood?
Absolutely. And having a big mama in your neighborhood makes a difference. Having a fireman, paramedic, police officer, even a member of MADDADS, again, these aren't the ones that we need to be concerned about. Right. They not snitching. They just telling what the truth is. And that's what we need. We need the truth. And it's okay to agree to disagree. You shouldn't always agree. I don't always agree with VJ. But we understand and we respect each other enough to know that we are out here for the bigger cause, and the bigger cause is stopping the bleeding, of Minneapolis. Period.
You know, all my friends on Facebook that are in the North Minneapolis community and the African American community around Minneapolis, they're all very vocal about, obviously wanting to do something about this, and who's doing this? Can we stop them? Is it like, is that a big, not being in that community? I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm going to ask it. Is there like a big, I don't know, division between the people that, I guess the gang members maybe, and those who aren't in the gangs, or those who are willing to speak up and those who aren't willing to speak up? Is there kind of a, I don't know, is there like a division there between within the community, or is it, this is very, this is someone coming who knows nothing about this, so, but then a lot of people who are watching this on my Facebook won't either.
Well, I'm gonna say this, it's fear. If you're not in a gang, you're not associated, but you're around those people, and you know that they will retaliate, bust out your car window, right, bust your window if you say something or do something. If you don't have a man in your home to help protect, or if you don't have relationships with those kids, you're pretty much in trouble. You need to just mind your own business, which is sad. That's not what you have to do. And people are moving out of communities because they're afraid. So there's a fear factor. There's a division because there's fear. These are young kids, and when I talk to them in the jails, that's why I go to jail. That's why it's important to be in the jails. Mm-hmm. When I talk to them and say, when I ask the question, you got out today, who would be excited about you being out? And who would be angry about you being out of jail if you got out today? They said, my neighbors, right? Because they terrorize them, and when the neighbors are terrorized by you, that means that you put fear in their hearts, that you fear them. And so many of us don't know how to deal with the kids of today. We used to be going to say, hey, boy, put that down. That ain't yours. They say, no, you better go on in the house, mind your own business. That's what they do now. Unless you're strong, you have a relation, unless you're feeding them. Big Mama, you feed them, they ain't going to do what you say because they know they need that cornbread and greens later on. But the thing is that there's a lot of fear. So the separation is, that's why homicides don't get solved. Right. And they do in Minnetonka. Right. And they do in Edina. Yeah. They don't get solved in North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis the way they should because people are afraid to talk.
I just want to remind people watching this on my feed and on VJ's feed, please share this conversation. We're live right now. We'll be going live for a little bit here. It's open-ended. We're going to just keep going until we feel like it's done. I got more people sitting out here that are going to be on camera in a little bit to share their testimony.
Yep, Ebony and Bunny's here. Share.
Oh, they'll be on in just a second. So I just want to remind people watching this, please share this live feed right now with your friends. Let's get this thing out there. We want to hear comments from you if you have any. And then, of course, this is about action. And the action tonight, right, it's just talk is talk, and that's awesome. But we need action, too. And so the action we want to take is more boots on the ground. We talk about people being afraid of being in their neighborhoods. And it was just what VJ was saying about when the MADDADS are present, they go out there, they wear their green shirts, they patrol the neighborhood, and they engage with the community. The community changes, right? It's like having a law enforcement officer in the neighborhood or something like that. It's a calming effect. It's a peacemaking effect. $30 gets an extra hour of security. You can give $30 to their GoFundMe. I got it linked in the description of this live video. What do we got? The volume. Yeah. Well,
is that on both of them?
You know what you might be able to do?
Speak up.
We're just winging it here, everyone at home. So I actually have a microphone. What did I do with that thing? It's a little. Oh, here it is.
A little furry microphone.
Let me try to plug that in and point it at me. And if it works better, great. It might make it good though. Can someone hear? Yeah, go listen.
Yeah, we're just doing a microphone check. Let's take a little break here. Coming up, you guys, is Ebony, Bunny. They're both coming up. They're exciting. They're going to really talk to you about their history and stories. They got great stories. We got Beeks here, former police officer. Man, he's put some miles on the streets. And let me tell you this: if you support MADDADS, man, we're going to make sure you get the support that you need in the community. We're asking because we got to provide for this community, but we can't do it without the resources. And so we don't always need to be asking the city or asking the state. We can ask you. We can ask you to help us out. I hope you can hear the mic. Let us know if you can hear the sound. Let us know if the sound's working. We're trying to test our sound.
Yeah, he
and
can
make
hear
sure
it,
it's
so we're
okay.
good.
We're good?
Remember,
Okay.
this is a team effort. We cannot do this alone. No one
No.
is going to be able to do this alone.
Nobody.
It's going to take Mad Dads, Face to Face, Be
Mother's
the
Love.
Voice, Mother's Love, KG, the community, the police,
Everybody.
you know, city council, the mayor, business owners, church leaders, you know,
All
those,
boots
you
on
know,
the ground.
anybody and everybody
We
that
stand
has
for
a
peace.
vested
We march for
interest,
peace. Everybody.
you know.
Let me say one more thing. Like you said, people are afraid in these communities because there'll be retaliation. If there's fear in a community that I live in, people call the police. That's not the same thing people do in the north side, is it?
Well, and one of the reasons is because if you didn't get Officer Beeks, you didn't get respected.
Right.
So if another officer shows up and you say, "Excuse me, officer," hey, get out of the way, shut up, wait a minute, that's not how Beeks talks to me when he shows up. He shows up and speaks with me with respect because Beeks is from the hood.
So,
he knows how to talk to our people because he's one of us. And so a lot of times people, they join the law enforcement for the wrong reason.
Right.
And they're in the neighborhood and don't know how to communicate with people. And they're going call to call to call to call to call. And that's stressful
Right.
when you do that to an officer. And you have nothing good, it's all negative. Every call is something negative. Somebody screaming and shouting. And it gets to your psyche. Even if you are a good officer, that gets to your psyche, and he can talk about that, going from call to call to call.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes I don't know how he did it. I know sometimes I have to take a break because I can't constantly be in that. I have to take a break. Although I understand why people are angry. Economically, they're angry. Equality-wise, they're angry. People are angry for a lot of reasons.
So people who might not want to call the police because of bad experiences, might they call MADDADS if there's a security issue?
They would call MADDADS if they see us there, and we can stop. We've stopped many of things. That's why we ride the buses. We reduced crime by 38% on the buses.
That's right.
Simply because we were riding the bus and making a difference.
There was a study done about the presence of MADDADS on public transit in the Twin Cities, in Minneapolis, I suppose, specific. And crime was reduced by 38% from that. We got a few donations. Bless you.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we got a few donations coming in.
Are we saying
He
names?
just took a photograph of it. Carolyn Bauer, Ryan
Carolyn.
Shannon,
Hey, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
Monica Bertrand.
Hey, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Go to the website, make a contribution. Appreciate
Thanks,
your
Nick.
support. Thanks a lot.
Let's keep them going.
Yeah, let's keep them going.
I was just sharing the statistic that crime on the public transit in the Twin Cities, or Minneapolis at least, went down 38% with the presence of MADDADS. And I keep thinking about these instances that happened lately in the news. If there's a MADDADS there, those things don't happen, right? They just don't. Like the guy told VJ when he was in jail, we came back later. So yeah, it's a bandage. It's stopping the bleeding. It's not a permanent solution. The permanent solution is more fundamental and monumental, and changing people and less racism and more structural improvements and things like that. But right now, people just want to stop seeing these headlines, man. People just want to stop the bleeding.
Today I just left the county homeschool.
Okay.
Young boys 14 to 17. And I asked them a simple question. What do you see? Where do you see yourself in the future? Most of them said, probably dead. Now, in other communities, if our kids said that,
Right.
they would either get some therapy immediately or be placed somewhere where they could have something done so they could psychologically be helped out.
Yeah.
But it's normal for kids to walk around our community with thinking like that. That's not normal. That's abnormal, and that's why we have to have more boots on the ground, more grief and trauma services. We got to get those clinics that are culturally specific to help them. And so we have to reach out to them and then get them to the service they need so they can get the help that they need to think differently. Because after you've been beat down so much, one kid told me, I was told I would never be nothing, so then why try? That's not other communities. When you turn 15, you get a little hat. You want to.
Why don't you take the call if you don't mind? It's probably someone in need.
It's not someone in need. It's
All
someone
right.
in treatment. Okay. So
Okay, well, they're getting hopefully what they
Okay.
need. Do we got a bunch of comments here, actually?
Okay, we got comments. Okay, they're putting some sites on here. Jesus Christ intervene. Okay, yes, I agree 100%. Police officers need to be more trained in mental health. Working microphone.
Yeah, we're getting
Somebody
it.
said the right, Mickey micro. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, everybody. We got 17 people on here.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's get back to
Okay,
it then.
let's get back to it. Yeah. I'll just hold this.
People watching on your feed probably don't know me at all. I'm actually from a town of 700 people in Minnesota, northern
700
Minnesota.
people?
Yeah. So I didn't see a black person until I went to college, and I didn't really get exposed to the issues. What I knew about issues in urban communities, I knew about trailer courts, right? I knew about issues like that of poverty, but I knew about rural poverty, right? So everything I knew was from media, movies, Dangerous Minds, whatever. But I took a job as a substitute teacher 10 years ago or so. And I went to some of these North schools, and I was just sad, right? It's like there's a lot of pain, right? Kids would write about their uncle getting shot, things like that, right? And I was struck by the volume of it, right? If there was one student in my class that had I remember once a friend of mine had a tragedy in his family, like it was a murder-suicide. I remember this happened, and it was the talk of the school. And in these schools that I was substitute teaching in, a relative being shot was common, right? Like everyone knew someone or was connected to some kind of shooting. Like it was just the lifestyle, or it was part of the norm. And that struck me when you were talking about how if there was if a kid was troubled in a suburban school or something like that, they would get the grief counseling, they would get the attention they need. But there's so much of that in these communities that I don't. Well, it's what led me to find you. It's what led me to find MADDADS and Urban Ventures and Antoine and all. Actually, it was during that whole time I was doing that story in 2017.
He wants to say. He wants to answer.
No,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but with that being said, honestly, I believe that is the perfect transition right now for us to bring in these next two guests.
Sounds great.
And talk about and allow them to talk about their experiences, etc., etc.
Perfect.
I think this is the perfect time to have them on.
Good on. Good call.
I think so too.
Okay, ladies,
So
you wanna?
we're going to bring the ladies in so you can talk to them. Thank you, Annie, Yvonne. Thank you. Facebook stopped. Oh, this is back on though, Annie. We're back on.
Okay.
Okay.
Feel free to keep filming this from your.
Yeah.
And keep. Can you chime in with the? I wonder if there's a way we can get the link to the.
I can just put the website on there.
All right.
I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Go to the website.
Yep.
We're doing some transition. This is a live feed.
Transition.
We're on the fly. It makes it real, right? People at home. And again, I'll just take this chance to say, I believe the link to the MADDADS GoFundMe is in the description of this live feed. It's also on the previous Facebook post I put up just minutes before this went live. There's the link to the MADDADS GoFundMe. Everything we've said up till now enforces the need for MADDADS to get the support, to go out to the communities, to help reduce the violence and to help stop the bleeding. So with me right now are two women I met around the same time I met these two gentlemen. I was doing a story in 2017 about the 2016 homicides in Minneapolis. I decided to go through, and it was the year that Jamar Clark was killed. Mm-hmm. And I remember, he was getting news all over the country about his death, but I knew there were other deaths in the community, and I wondered about them. So I went through, and I went from January 1 to December 31 of 2016, and I looked up everyone who passed away in Minneapolis, and then I started talking to their families. And then you two were two of the family members I talked to. Mm-hmm. So we'll go one at a time here, but we have Bunny Beeks and Ebony Robinson. Bunny, you want to just introduce yourself and tell your story about how you got involved in activism?
Yeah, so I'm Bunny Beeks. I am the daughter of Burdell Beeks, who was murdered on May 26, 2016 in North Minneapolis. And I am the founder of Be the Voice Minneapolis, which we are in the process of establishing our nonprofit. And our main goal is like everyone else and so many of the other organizations that are out here, and that's to stop the violence, stop the bleeding. One of our main focuses will be to have support groups for families and friends who have lost loved ones to homicide, and to just be that support in between the time of the shooting and being able to advocate for them when it comes to investigators. All of that is very traumatic to go through, especially when you're supposed to be in that grieving time.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get information from investigators on your case. And it's understandable that they can't provide you with all the information, but there's a way for them to say your case is still active and things without giving you the information that will harm your case.
I suppose it goes without saying that that's a part of policing you would like to see reformed too.
Mm-hmm.
The investigative process.
Yes,
The
yes.
ability for them to share information with family, that kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yes. And we had awesome investigators on my mom's case.
Hers was pretty high profile.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Can you talk
Yeah.
quickly, just go over what happened with your mother?
My mother was driving down the street with my then 16-year-old daughter in the car. She was just simply waiting at a stop sign. Something, we all drive. We all could be sitting at that stop sign and be her. An individual came out of his house to shoot at a rival gang member going down the street, and his bullet hit my mom in the arm, and the bullet traveled to her heart and ultimately killed her. My daughter was not physically harmed, but she will forever be changed mentally. So often we see in these news stories that there was not life-threatening.
Yeah.
There's no life-threatening injuries. I get that they need to put some sort of label on it, but I wish that the media would change and that the police would change, because that is not a true statement. People that are affected by gun violence will forever have a life-threatening experience.
And I just want to add that Bunny became her own private investigator. She became her own marketing machine. She did everything. When her life changed. I watched her I didn't even know who she was. I didn't even know she was related to Officer Beeks. I didn't even know. But once she got out there, everybody knew who Bunny was. Everybody.
There was just going to be no stopping. We talk about how people are afraid to come forward and to talk about this. That was my mom. There was no way I was going to allow someone to not be held responsible for her death.
Since then, have you, I assume you've now helped people who've gone through this similar situation?
I have. And that's another part of what my organization will do, is to be able to do that. Little King, I help with Lachey and helping his mom to get the justice and to push on the investigators,
Was that a recent?
That was King was shortly after my mom.
Oh, that was, yeah, he was in
a van.
Was he the 2-year-old boy?
Yes.
Today is the anniversary.
Is it? I didn't even realize
I met his
that.
mother at one of those vigils. I remember that.
Released today at 1 noon.
And actually, that's my kids' family on their dad's side, the 2-year-old.
See? And in some way, there's always so much intertwined that you just never know.
Your mom's case was solved, yes?
It was solved. One person is doing life without the possibility of parole. Yes, that's a blessing. However, another thing that these people need to realize is stop allowing these people to come in. I get that. Do your job first. Do your job. But when you allow these people to come in and give you information to get time off, that hurts the family. That hurts the family. I did not agree. The guy that set the whole thing in motion came and he gave his testimony against the person that actually pulled the trigger, and he has been out already over a year. My mom would still be alive had he not have set that in motion. So to give somebody like that a plea deal is unacceptable.
Absolutely. And just to kind of inject just a little bit on why, it's going to take kind of like this village to raise a family. You're saying that today was the anniversary King. This is some family members of yours on the child's father's side.
Yeah.
And I went to school with King's grandma.
Yep.
And we actually kind of liked each other back in the day, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, God.
No, come on in.
But what my point is, you know, Minneapolis is small.
Mm-hmm.
We have our issues,
It's
but we're
very-
small. And someone knows someone of someone,
Yeah.
and this is how and why I know that if we
band
build
together.
these lanes
Yeah.
and we came together and had transparency and accountability, that we would be able to stop the bleeding of Minneapolis, and it would be done relatively quick, I believe. So
It starts tonight. Donate. Go to the MADDADS GoFundMe. $30 is another hour of security. If the MADDADS were, this is what I always believe with these situations. If there were MADDADS at that intersection, that shooting doesn't happen. They just don't do it. And maybe it never gets done. Maybe it does, but maybe it never does, right? And certainly it doesn't hit her mom. Your son's
Totally
case
innocent.
wasn't solved, right?
We're still fighting for justice for Andre Riley Jr. He was killed July 3rd, so his 4th year anniversary was last Friday. We're still fighting for justice. We would like for anybody to come forth that knows anything to help solve this. Not only was my son murdered, but my niece was murdered 4 days before him on June 29th, 2016. And my nephew was murdered August 14th, 2010. So VJ didn't meet me until pretty much until my son was murdered, even though he was there all the time through my nephew with my sister-in-law, Trina Riley, and as well as I was there, but it was just a lot of emotions throughout the years. But yes, he was at an after set. Some people came up to him and harmed him and killed him. And when they ran off, they said that was the wrong guy, which was too late by then because he was dead.
So again, like you said, after set.
Yeah, after set.
It was like an outdoor party
Yeah.
going on in a parking
after
lot.
set just means it was after 1 a.m.
No, it was at the after set. It was at a biker's after set.
Yeah.
They were
So it just means after
so
the
they were
policy.
all in the parking lot. You could go inside and eat and listen to music, but all the kids or all the younger generation meet outside and mingle and talk and everything. And my the younger generation in my family, since my niece had got murdered that Tuesday, June 29th, they all got together and was just, hanging out and trying to figure out what we were going to do about going to her funeral in Chicago and stuff when this had happened to my son on July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July. Was the worst day of my life. You never want to sign your child's death certificate ever. It's the worst day. And like she said, physically you're there, but mentally you're not. That's why I want to start a nonprofit on getting help for families going through the process, because everyone that I dealt with was rude, uncompassionate, no empathy, no sympathy. Just the Reverend Griffin, he was the only one that showed any empathy for the situation at all. And I know people, I guess, so used to working in that field that they come numb, but it's not good for the family that has not been through it. So I want to, help families to the avenues to go to ask for funding if you don't have insurance or if you need clothes or, whatever you need to help you through that moment, because like you said, you're there physically. Like they, when my son got cremated, I guess I told them that they could burn his clothes, but I never even thought you burnt the clothes when you cremated the body. So I'm like, I never told you that. I spent a lot of money. I was saving that for my granddaughter, but there again, physically I was there, but mentally I wasn't listening to anything they said. So but everywhere I went, they were rude. They did not help. They were just condescending, and it was just like at the wrong time to have that type of support system. My family was great. VJ been great. Every year I call him for our vigils every year since my son's death due to the coronavirus. This year I didn't feel that it was safe for everyone to come out and do it this year, but we do it for my niece, my nephew, and my son every year. All three of their birthdays in July, so it's just a really rough month for our family. So we do the vigil birthday parties together, and VJs have always been there. He's always on the go. I'm like, do you ever rest. So $30 an hour for what they're gonna do is not even really enough, because they're gonna work like they're on a salary. So like they're there like any time of the day, whenever. Like, so $30 really isn't enough. So, but if you can donate, please donate, because we need them out there. As well as, like they were saying, that they have more, what would you say, like more, I don't know, vulnerability to the community than a police officer. Because a lot of time when a police officer comes to a situation that's already hostile, they make it worse. You know, they add to it instead of trying to de-escalate the situation. A lot of times, and it'd be just like the people that got killed that, you know, they stopped in the car. Like, they just go overboard with a lot of things, and they don't think that they have to respect us just because their position of their. But everybody gets respect unless you lose that respect. Everybody earn.
Yeah.
You don't have to earn respect. You're automatically given respect until you lose that, you know, position by doing something that you didn't have any business doing to lose it. So, and they come and think just because we're beneath them that they can talk to us any kind of way without showing respect or concern. I haven't heard from a police officer since my son got killed in 2016.
I was going to ask, where's the status with the case?
Whenever I call, I get a voicemail. It's been changed from different hands. They never return my call, so I don't know. I haven't heard from them since 2016. And they told me I wouldn't hear from them until it's solved.
That's part of the situation too, right? Like, even if they have a lead, even if they're onto something,
Or
they won't
even
say.
they don't even try to contact me to see if I heard something. Like, did you hear something? Did this come about? Or, you know, is there somebody you think we should investigate or anything? They don't return your call. As well as my sister-in-law, when my nephew got killed in 2010, the police officers that came to the house was like, we're locked together because of this situation. We are family now. We haven't heard from them since 2010.
Has there been any development since I interviewed you about this
No.
a few years ago?
No, I have not heard from him since he got murdered. Since the couple of days afterwards, where they come and ask you a couple of questions and this and that, I have not heard from no one.
So the assumption is the killer is still loose unless they did something else and are in jail for another reason.
Yeah, and unless they, which so-called snitch, which it isn't snitching, because if your loved one got killed, you will want their murder solved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will want their murder solved. And why do you want to keep putting your people through this, whether you know them, your family by blood or anything?
Yeah.
By us being in the same race, we have to, the same respect and love we want from another race, we have to start showing to ourselves. We have to start protecting our loved ones. We have to stop all these extra drugs that these people are on, that, you know, that they're probably not in their right mind at that time. So
Yeah.
we do have to figure out some way to get back to these kids when they're younger, because once they get 16, 17, they're so much in the groove of the things that they're into, it's hard to connect and change them. So we need to get back to, they took away all the stuff that we had growing up in the city, even in the suburbs. They took that away from us, or they made it so expensive. Like, if you have more than one child, you can't afford it. Like, for my kids, I had 4 kids growing up, and we stayed in Brooklyn Park, and for them to do an activity, it was over $100 for each one of them for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, one time a week. That's like your mortgage, you know? Like, who's going to do that for just 3 weeks? You know?
You said that in our interview a few years ago. I did an interview with Ebony and, I'm sorry, what was
Vania, my daughter-in-law.
Vania and Riley's daughter.
Yeah, Drea.
Drea.
No,
How
love.
is she?
She's 4. She'll be 5.
She's running around?
Yes.
So
she's
when I
my
interviewed
love.
you, of course, she was like an infant.
Yeah, she was a baby.
One thing I wanted to add too is that when you talk about Ebony and Bunny, because I watch them on Facebook a lot, and I don't say much, I just watch with it. But a lot of times they're constantly grieving.
Yeah.
Constantly grieving. I mean, it's like, you can just tell. It's like they're just constantly grieving about this situation.
Yeah.
People don't understand what gun violence does to a family and how it impacts them. Bunny and Ebony aren't the same people that they were before this happened. Because in the back of their heads, And sometimes you can catch her over at the parking lot where her son got killed, just sitting out there playing music, you know. And I'm sure Bunny's got her rituals too and things that she does, you know. But you can tell when because she'll be like, Mom, I'm thinking. You know that they're going through and they're letting the world know. So just people, we need to support these people, you know, because what support was there for you? That's the thing. There wasn't, you know. It's not like when there's a tragedy in the city or in the suburbs, people have these rescue units coming and showing up, and we don't have that. We show up at the scene and we try to help the family, and then we gotta go to the next shooting. So we can't stay with them. They gotta figure it out. And because I don't have nobody to send with them, I don't have that kind of finances to send somebody with these two women. But I had to watch them go through it. I had to watch Bonnie. Sometimes I thought she was gonna go crazy. I really did. But what could I do? I'm going to the next shooting. When I see Ebony and I see she's depressed and down, I try to give her a message, uplift her, but she's going through. I don't have any staff to send to her. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of stuff and support we need. We need to do that. That's why they're starting their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because they see there's such a big gap.
Yeah, it sounds like you two actually have a lot in common with the support you want to provide.
Yeah. Yeah, because people don't realize once you become a family of gun violence, and like I said, even little Juju that got killed, the 3-year-old on Christmas, that was my cousin's stepson. So it's like it just keep happening, and you never can really like totally grieve, because before you know it, it's another murder that somebody you know. Like literally since my son got killed, we lost almost 200 people in our family. Just from various of things, murders, cancer, you know, different things. So the biggest one was my auntie. She was kind of ill, but she had, my Aunt Lottie, she had heart problems and stuff. And after Dre got killed, it like kind of intensified and moved her, you know, heart failure up, where she ended up passing away not too long after him. My niece, she lost a baby because of the stress. It's just like, you just don't realize you're not just killing that person, you're killing a whole family and a community. And then it's hard to watch them continue to live their life, be with their kids. My son is not able to be a dad to his daughter. She's not able to have her father or that protection for her, you know, from her dad. And it was all because he was the wrong person, you said, you know. Like
the killer said, we got the wrong guy.
Yeah,
as they fled the scene.
Yeah, as the people in the community that lived there said, that's what they heard. They said that was the wrong guy, which they have no reason. They don't know him or the other person to say that. But
the killer was wearing a hoodie or something, you said?
Well, it was 4 of them, as far as I know. It was 4 of them. And my son's murder, it was over 120-something casings that the police found.
Wow. That I didn't remember.
Yes.
Saying.
Over 120-something casings.
And that is actually pretty unheard of. It really is. I mean, when you are finding that many casings as a law enforcement investigator, that's making some statements regarding that particular incident.
Yeah.
And it should, honestly, make those investigators act a little bit more on an urgent matter. Because, again, we're talking about a couple of situations that have happened in Minneapolis. We know that there's many more that have happened in Minneapolis, but what we fail to realize or kind of address at sometimes, or whatever the case may be, is that a lot of these things that we're seeing in Minneapolis, it reaches to St. Paul, it reaches to Chicago, Illinois, it reaches to Detroit, and a lot of folks got, you know, friends, families, you know, et cetera, that reaches very far, just like these gangs and these cliques and so on and so forth. They have their friends and associates or whatever it is that they want to call them, and they've been known to come in, do what they do, and they bounce right back up out of town. You know, so
it's kind of a network.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I mean, I can tell you about a whole bunch of different stories, but I won't even go down that road. But what I'm saying is that this same individual that has not been caught, you know, in this young lady's incident, is still out here and could have, you know, acted in the same manner in some other city, some other state, you know, And I guarantee you, if he or that person did it here, oh, they have ties here and somebody else. They just ain't dipping out of state and not knowing that they got somewhere to lay their head. It's not going to happen. So therefore, again, it should have been, somewhat of an urgency. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the Minneapolis Police Department, is not doing their job. But in listening to, her story, it seems that they could be doing a lot more.
Not only that, we want our kids to be able to grow up and walk, North Minneapolis, go to different things that North Minneapolis has to offer, without getting harmed. We don't want to have to worry about them all night, or they can't go to prom because there's not enough patrol out there to make sure that our kids are safe. I have my granddaughter that's 4 that I need to watch out for now. Her dad's not here, and I need to be able to know that these streets are safe for her when I'm not here.
That was my next question.
Period.
Actually, it was.
Yeah, whether it's the police, whether it's black on black crime, whatever other crime it could be, which it has to stop. It has to stop. There's no other way to continue this life if we're going to keep going down this road.
You talked about like the sort of the community wasn't as tight or something like that when I interviewed you. Like people used to kind of look out for each other's kids, and then there was also more to do in the community centers and so forth.
And affordable, When my older kids were younger, there were scholarships and stuff, so I can get them into basketball, football, and have them doing something positive. But now you don't have that. They don't have the funding. They don't have the coaches. It's just, the funding that they stop from the states or the federal towards the programs is, unbelievable about how much money they cut from, the system that we need in our communities to be able to, like, fund for MADDADS or fund for another organization, or even like how we had Boys and Girls Club where they would come and pick you up and, take you on camping trips and different stuff like that. They don't have that now, If the family don't have the money, as far as even like Head Start, if you don't have the money to pay for Head Start started up for families that didn't have money.
Right.
So now you have to have money to pay daycare for them to go to Head Start. Like, that isn't what it was funded for. It was for people with low income, or people, just starting out, trying to get their feet on the ground and help a family, get better as far as finances and, getting out of poverty and stuff. And they took, like, everything away from our neighborhood. Like,
this is actually kind of a bigger issue that I see going on. It's not just having to do with security and just with the black community. It's actually something I'm seeing across the country, having to do with kind of government services in general. And when I did the documentary about the 2018 homeless camp, it took them a long time to build a pretty basic shelter, right?
But they're building all these condominiums that's $3,000 a month.
Well,
who can afford that?
That's kind of my point. Like, it's getting harder and harder, I think, for governments to do their job, right? I mean, in sort of to defend them, it is harder because I think the world's getting more fluid and fast moving, and so it seems harder to make dollars stretch while governments continue to kind of bog down and they're kind of slow and rigid. And so I think it's going to come down to communities more, which frankly is the direction the city council is talking about, wanting to take policing anyway. So I guess it's my way of saying we can't wait for governments and grants to support groups like MADDADS. It's up to us, right? It's up to us to support these groups. And you might say, well, I'm already paying taxes for these kinds of groups, but it's just not working. It's just not working. Minneapolis spends well over $20,000 a year per pupil in the public schools, and then you go to these schools and you see kids not learning much, right? And it isn't because necessarily the facilities are bad. It's just they're not putting out a product that works, and for that kind of money, it doesn't make sense. But it's not financial. Well, it might be financial, but it's about working that huge budget that they have, right? It's bureaucracy. It's just things aren't working that well. And the budget they have comes down to 20 grand a year per student, but I can promise you that money ain't getting down to the students, right? So this is direct. VJ often talks about, you know, the need to get grants, and I know a lot of other nonprofits talk about that. And I said to VJ, hey, you don't have to go to the legislature and try to get money from them. We can get money directly from the people at home, right? And so I know we had Monica and Ryan chip in. If you're watching on my feed or on VJ's or on this young lady's feed, hi. Go to MinneapolisMadddads.org.
www.minneapolismaddads.org.
Or the link in my in the description of this live feed on my Facebook profile, and donate to MADDADS, because they're boots on the ground. If they were present during these things wouldn't have happened. Right? I think that's almost 100% certainty. Thanks you both very much for coming on to share your stories.
And I do want to second what you said about if they were around at these incidents. I do believe too that it wouldn't had happened due to, like, the police was across the street when my son got killed, and they had, before he got shot, it was already a shooting out there.
Oh.
Before,
Okay,
so
well, I didn't know that either.
They never came across the street to investigate or anything, and then the next round that's when my son got killed. My family left, and then they came back, and the police still hadn't made it there before they did. So if I think if MADDADS was there or another organization was there, then, you know, people respect older people. You know what I'm saying? They, like VJ was saying, like, he can go tell you, pull your pants up, you know. I still tell them now to this day, pull your pants up. I get in their face like, you know, you're going to respect me, and I'm an adult. If I'm standing in presence of you, you will respect me while I'm here. When I'm gone, you're going to do what you're going to do. But while I'm here, you will respect me as an adult, period. I don't care who child it is, who raised you, who's going to raise you, who's going to get mad.
Yeah.
You know, if your parents told you right from wrong, and not all parents, kids are, you know, some kids, they act more roguish or something when your parents not around.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, your parents, if they instilled into you how to react in front of adults and this and that, I would have never had to say anything to you.
Yeah, right.
But can I interject here? Because that's what I get in arguments oftentimes on Facebook. And people say, but it starts at home. It starts at home. But if home has been messed up for generations, it then comes back to us, like you're doing. Our village saying, you have to stop.
Yeah.
We care about you. We love you. We don't want to see you dead. We don't want to see you in jail. We don't want to think that we're going to walk down the street or drive down the street and we may be your next possible victim because you're not hitting your intended target. But you shouldn't even have an intended target. You have to stop the violence. The violence has got to stop, period. We got to figure out, how are they getting all these guns in our community where they're able to cause all this trauma? You're traumatizing the whole community. It's not that you're traumatizing one person or this family. You are absolutely traumatizing the whole community. And as VJ said, yes, I hurt every day. I especially hurt when I hear of an innocent person, when I hear somebody in a car being killed. That all affects me because it takes me back to what happened to me.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both so much. I really love your perspectives as like bigger picture things too. Like going in there and
it has to be. We lost so much of the community, like you mentioned. We had the we had the Boys and Girls Club. We had so many things for these kids to do. They don't have that. They don't have just the general things we used to have in school. Home ec. Teach you a way of life and teach you what life. You're not getting that at home. You're not getting that in school. So they look for the quickest way to make some money. And so most times that quick way is going to end up in their death or the death of somebody else. And there has to be a solution that can change this.
And then they have to look at the broader picture as well. When you kill somebody, 9 times out of 10, either you're going to go to jail or you're going to be dead. Who's going to be there to support your child and make sure your child don't get hurt? You know, if you're gone away, you have to look at the bigger picture of you need to be present and there for your child life, for no harm comes to them. You know, They retaliate. They don't mind hurting your family members if they can't get to you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to think about the bigger picture. You're mad at this moment, and when it's done and over, you're trying to get clout. What kind of clout are you getting?
Yeah, right.
That's not respect.
Yeah.
That shows that you're a coward. That shows you're a punk because you couldn't walk away from the situation. It does not take for you to take someone else's life to make you a man, make you a female, you know, make you a grown woman to feel that. You need to get into education. You want to travel the world. You want to see the world. You want to be able to, you know, take your family on vacations. You want to be able to go to museums and just, you know, live what all this world has to offer for you. Just what you see right now is not your future. You guys, there is so much more out there if you take advantage of it. It might take a long time. You might get a lot of doors slammed in your face, but if you keep pursuing it, it can happen for you. There's so many people that lived it from the projects to, you know, low income housing that is basketball players, football players, actors. You can do it. You just have to put your mind to doing something positive. If your friends is into negative things, you have to find a way. You've got to put God first in your life. You have to stay on your knees. You have to pray for not only yourself, for your neighborhood, your neighbors, your communities. You have to love everyone like God wants us to love everyone. Color doesn't matter. I didn't pick to be black. You didn't pick to be white. He didn't pick to be black. Neither did she. You know, so that should not even be a factor in anything that we choose to do. As far as treating each other with love and respect and looking out for each other. You know, I want to be able to go to some stuff in my community. I don't want to have to go all the way out to Elk River. You know, I want to be able to go right here where I don't have to spend much gas money. I don't have to do this. I don't have to go that far. I can go here and hang out and go back home within 20 minutes or 15 minutes. You know, they don't realize when you put so much of this crime and destructive in your community, nobody can open up anything because their insurance is so high that they can't afford to service you, the community. You know, they can't have a laundromat here if you're going to be tearing it up or you're going to be shooting out in front of it. Their insurance, just to have it open, is going to cost more than what they're going to be bringing in. So why should they open up stuff in your community?
Right.
Why don't you want things in your community for your family, for the convenience and everything? You have to look at the bigger picture of what you're doing. It's not just hurting that person, you're hurting a whole community. And you don't even understand what angles or what, you know, avenues or what you didn't stop from the next person and stuff. So we have to look at the bigger picture. It's not just about the beef that you having, because the beef y'all having ain't worth killing nobody.
I really hope the right people are listening to this.
Well, and then they should always ask themselves, when you put that gun in your hand, you are taking two lives. You're taking that life that you shoot at, and you're taking your own. And you got to think about it. Is your life worth going to jail, taken away from your family, taken away from whoever loves you? Because somebody loves you. Somebody loves you. And you have got to know that the community needs everybody. The community, it needs everybody. It needs that older person that can be a guidance to somebody younger in a positive way.
Yeah.
And not in a negative way. You guys are out here showing these kids the wrong way to live. And for parents to have to consistently keep burying their kids, that ain't how life is meant to be. Life is not meant to be that way.
Not from the taking of somebody else's hands. Not if God isn't taking them. Like, you have no right. Like, I was in labor with my son for 23 hard hours. There's no way. If I didn't kill him, you shouldn't have killed him.
Yeah, right.
23 hours of hard labor. Do you know how hard that was for me?
Yeah.
Nope.
No. I was about to say no.
None of us can say it.
Since we're talking about peace and unity and love, and I think that this would be the perfect time to introduce, you know, your next guest.
Yeah, let's do that. I just want to say in closing, like, I know you do a lot of work with your nonprofit. Give me the name of it again.
Be the voice.
Be the voice. Okay, and
it's just that we have to continue to be the voice for those that no longer have a voice anymore. And whether that is advocating for the family when it comes to working with investigators, being there for the family as a support, whether that is, you know, just I need somebody to talk to because right now it's a hard day. I'm having a hard time. I just need somebody that understands what I've been through. And not all the time do individuals or can they afford to go see somebody that is medically,
Yeah,
a
right,
medical
right,
person,
right,
or do
right.
they even want to? Because especially in the Black community, they don't think it's okay to go see a shrink or,
Okay.
or a therapist or
Yeah.
anything. Sometimes it just takes that person that is there that has experienced the same things that they have experienced to say it's going to be okay. I'm here for you.
Yeah. They
I
can
think
find-
that's the more of it is when you can lean on someone that's been through it, other than a psychologist that's just off of books.
Uh-huh.
You know, like you
Yeah.
haven't been through this, so you don't know the depth of how much is tearing me up. You can imagine, but you really don't know.
And you know your books of it.
And then you want to put you on pills. Because that's what they did with me. Pills. Where to the point where I couldn't even take care of my son. He was 14, my youngest one at the time, which that didn't help at all.
Yeah,
you know,
It just put you in a daze.
I was a zombie.
Well, it sounds like you two have a lot actually in common.
I'm
as
gonna call her
far
because
as-
I want help from you.
So as I expressed, my 16-year-old daughter was in the car with my mom
Yeah.
at the time that this incident happened, and she, still to this day suffers trauma she can't be where there's 4th of July fireworks because it takes her back to hearing those shots. But she is a junior in college now, becoming a psychologist because
Oh,
she
wow.
wants to come back and help individuals in their community that have
That's a
experienced
great way
the same.
to go into the next segment.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so
Yes.
much.
Yeah,
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Yeah.
And donate.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
the boots on the ground. We need the
Stop
help.
the bleeding,
Yes.
please.
Absolutely.
We
There you
don't
go.
need to see that anymore.
MADDADS is a good program. I call VJ and direct people to him all the time. I know he's like, why she send them to me? But we need help. We need donations. We need them out there helping us protect our community, your kids, my kids, everybody kids, parents. We need them out there. We need the donations. Please help.
Yes.
Thanks you guys for being
Thanks
here.
so
Thank you
much.
guys.
Tim, Reverend Tim, come on down.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, go around this way. There's a cord here.
Thank
You're
you so much.
welcome.
Yeah.
Donate.
What do we got?
We're gonna be hearing more about them. Take
Got a couple more donations from
Got a couple
Christina,
donations.
Sue.
Sue,
Yep, got a couple
Okay.
more there for you.
thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so much.
ladies,
Appreciate
for
it.
that.
Go to our website, www.minneapolismaddads.org. You can go to the GoFundMe, which you can see on his.
Yeah, the GoFundMe is in the link in the description of this live event.
Appreciate
If you don't see it there, it's in the previous post on my Facebook profile.
Elizabeth Jean, thank you very much. And,
We just had two
I'll put the
powerful
website on
testimonies and from
there. We've
two
got another guest
powerful
coming right
leaders.
over here now.
Here we go.
We'll talk to the pastor.
This is the Stop the Bleeding Streamathon, hosted here at MADDADS, raising money for boots on the ground through MADDADS. And I'm honored with Reverend Tim Christopher, who I met through Stu. Stu, you may even be watching this if you are. Oh, and I want to say earlier what you said about Elk River. It wasn't an insult to Elk River. It was a compliment to Elk River because she wasn't saying she doesn't want to go there. She's saying she wishes what Elk River has was closer to her house, right?
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
So you want to introduce yourself? I guess I'll just quickly rewind there. So I met you through my friend Stu. You're a reverend in North Minneapolis. You very outspoken about this rise in violence, the need to do something. So I'll just let you kind of introduce yourself and say a few words to the audience here.
Well, my name is Tim Christopher, and like I said, I'm a reverend at Berean Missionary Baptist Church on Lindale and 30th. I wear a few hats. Number one, I have my own nonprofits, which is called Shepherd's Works.
Okay.
We go out, we do food. We just finished partnering with a company called Bridges. And what Bridges does is Bridges help young women who are just getting out of the workhouse,
Okay.
someone who's getting a new place. So we're able to fund them through that process and get them, clothes, get them all the bed linens and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Bridges. We're able. Matter of fact, next Saturday, 11 boys from North Minneapolis will be going out sailing. So
Wow.
we're sponsoring that, and we're making sure those kids get out go sailing.
Right here on one of the lakes here?
Yeah, they're going to go right there to
Yeah.
the lakes. So what they're going to do is they're going to start off on these little small boats.
Uh-huh.
And I call him my boat guy, Jim. We partnered with him. So he has dinghies out there. He's got 7 dinghies.
Uh-huh.
So what's going to happen is they're going to learn to do that.
Yeah,
and once
sure.
they're done with that, then they're going to go over and go on to St. Croix. And in the St. Croix, they'll be able to get on a bigger ship. Once they finish that, they'll be able to do
See,
that.
those are the things you were talking about, going out there and living, right?
Yes.
There's probably not a lot of kids that I met when I substitute taught who thought they could go sailing sometime,
Yeah.
right? But it's right here in the in the area.
Yep. So that's one of the things we're doing. Another thing I know everybody talk about gun violence and things of that sort. And what I always say to people, I am the vice president of the African American Heritage Gun Club, one of the only true gun clubs here in Minnesota, because Louis Denard and I have testified at the House and the Senate on gun control, on these gun bills that be going out. So, President, on that. And we also have Black Minds Unchained, which is our podcast, which we do to put that out there, to talk to people, to let them know that they got places to go if they need help. A large part of the things that we also do is we work with representatives from both sides.
Yeah.
Now, I've met with pretty much all the representatives to be able to talk to them, to let them know that we're here to help people, and they've shepherded people our way also. That we were able to help a lot of, like I said, the young females who are moms. They don't have much, with Target cards, with Walmart cards. We're able to fund them that way also to get them done. And like I said, with the young boys out here shooting everybody, one thing we always say to kids, but I believe if you give them to us and let us teach them the power of what they got in their hands, the problem with a lot of these shootings around here, these kids do not understand how much power they have in their hands. See, it's got to come from up here too. They got to be educated. You either give them to me, or a gang member are going to put a gun in their hands. And if a gang member put a gun in their hands, somebody's going to get shot. That shouldn't be. But if you give them to us and you let us teach these kids exactly what it's like to have these guns, to feel that power for the first time.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they feel the power is when they tell them to go shoot somebody. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I tried to partner up with you guys. I called up about almost a year ago, and I tried to get a meeting with you guys, but she was telling me that you guys did not, y'all don't have like meetings or something like that. The female that I talked to.
During the virus and stuff?
No, this is before the virus. That I called up a few times trying to partner up.
Well,
Because I want,
You're meeting
So
now.
I thank him for doing this. Because once he said it was with you guys, I was like, well, now I can sit down and talk to to the man of the hour and be able to say, hey, look, here's what we have. I can open my door and bring people in to help. I mean, I had food coming all the way from Bemidji. People driving all the way from Bemidji with trailers.
That's
of
where I'm
food.
from.
Yeah.
I'm from up there.
Yep, I got so much food right now.
I'll bring
in
some
storage.
home when I go up north next time.
There you go. We got so much food in storage right now. We're going out, and I was going to tell you, we was on the other side of the campment with a big smoker. My partner, who I'm invested in all of this stuff with. His name is Louis Denard. He has a huge trailer. So you guys was on one side, we was on the other side cooking chicken. And that's the type of things that I'm talking about. Be able to partner with you when you guys go out and do this here. I would love to go, because the bottom line comes down to it. A lot of times we don't link up. Black people don't link up with each other because everybody's got to be the boss. We don't need to be the boss. It's your deal. I'm willing to come in and work with you, do whatever we need to do to get this here thing done and make sure people are good to go. I also partner with another church, Miss Fields Tabernacle Church out of Robbinsdale. On Wednesdays, we go down there on Corey Street at the Harbor Lights. We feed the homeless down there also. So we wear a lot of hats when what we're trying to do. And we figure the more hats I got out there, the better we're going to be able to serve the community and make things work and make things go. And I like to get with you guys too and say we can help. If you know any young female that is trying to make her way maybe we can reach out to somebody to help you. Like I said, I've got a lot of contacts up in places that a lot of people don't think about going.
Yeah.
I mean, when we go up to the Senate, when we go talk to people in the House of Representatives, I don't see no black people up there. I don't see nobody up there. We're the ones who's walking around trying to do this here, trying to get these bills passed, trying to make this happen, and that's the only way we're gonna make a difference. We're sitting here talking about the gun violence, and we see what's going on in the neighborhood, but we keep voting the same people back in. And if we keep voting the same people back in, the same thing's gonna happen. Jacob Fry, look at the voting that happened with Jacob Fry. Jacob Fry is from Virginia. How is he going to come here into this? This is what we didn't do. We didn't go out and vote. As black people, we did not go and vote.
The thing is, we have to figure out what these individual people that's running for other than president and vice president, what they actually do. When you go to the voting polls, you don't know.
Well, you don't. But that's when we get together and we learn. Because I know the judges.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make a difference in your life. And I know the city councilman. That's going to make a difference in your life. See, we don't talk about the down valley. Everybody's mad at Donald Trump. But to be honest with you, Donald Trump ain't done nothing to you. I'll tell you who done something to you. Lisa Bender. Let me tell you who done something to you. Jeremy Ellison. Let me tell you who else who done something for you that's not doing right over there. It is Haynes every once in a while. Those are the people we got to go get. And we got to get them out. We got to get them out and say, if you don't want to work for us and do what's right, you got to go. But we just glide over them and let them go and let them do what they want until this happens. So everybody gets upset and it just blows over.
And should be said on here, we also need programs that specifically target young men that focus on their goals and provide them steps and options to achieve them.
And that's what we started. We started a goal for them to go and start sailing. If they master that, they get on the big boat. So that's just a start right there of what we're doing and what we're trying to have happen. The computer thing. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I'm going to get back with Stu on is see if he can get me enough computers to set up a computer lab down there in North Minneapolis. Because, see, we've got to teach these kids how to code. Coding is the way to go. Yes. So if I can get somebody to teach these kids to code, guess what? Maybe they won't be out on the streets. Maybe they'll be ready to go on a new job. Not only that, but I ran into two brothers right there on Plymouth Avenue who has a building that wants to open that building up so we can bring kids in there so they can be plumbers, so they can be electricians, so they can be framers. Those people make some pretty good cash. Yes. So why can't we get our black kids to sit down in school, and it ain't just the teachers. I mean, let's be real here. Sit down in school, understand what's going on, and get good jobs. And then we sit there and say, we talk about defunding the police. We need police. Why can't we take our black women? Why can't we take our little boys? Why can't we as a community fund them from the time they want to be a cop all the way up until they be a cop? And then we turn around and we buy them a house in our community. Yes. We don't think about stuff like that. We're too busy talking about defunding, messing with this here, kicking this person out. But we do it to ourselves. We don't talk about that. And when people start talking about that, everybody, oh, he think he all this in the back. No, I don't. I'm just trying to show you that we are natural conservative. Only thing we want people to do is make it fair for us to get where we want to go. That's all we want. We're not asking for a handout. Ain't nobody really talking about no welfare. Think about it. Think about it for a second. Tulsa, Oklahoma, what was there? A thriving black community. White people came in and tore it down. Redwood, Florida, what was there? A black thriving community. White people came in, tore it down. Wilmington, North Carolina, same thing. Thriving black community. We are a conservative people. But we get labeled the minute we go say, you know what? This isn't fair. But if you make it fair and leave us alone, watch us thrive. Watch us come up. Watch us do the things that we're trying to do for our kids, for our family, for our neighborhood.
Well,
but we got to get together, guys, to make this happen. The problem is we can't even work together.
Well, unity is a big part of this whole, this is an initiative, Stop the Bleeding, to focus on that specific goal. big picture stuff is what you're describing.
That's right. I look at big pictures.
Yeah.
No, this is small stuff. Let's just drop it for a second. Let's leave it here because we've been fighting this here forever. Let's take a dip. I just had a meeting. I sat down with the most hated man in Minnesota. Who would that be?
Well, I know the answer because I saw it. Bob Kroll.
There you go. And everybody going nuts because I sat down with this man. But if this man can make a difference, if he got doors that can open for me, open them up.
Well, I like your pragmatic approach to things, and I think Antoine too was talking. We had a good conversation about this, and I wrote about this for the Star Tribune when I wrote that piece about MADDADS and urban ventures. It wasn't about politics, right? And you mentioned earlier about working with both sides, right?
That's
You're
right.
talking about
I
Democrats,
work on both
Republicans.
sides.
It's about getting things done. It's not about, oh, we have to do it this way. It has to be done this way because that's, it's like a conservative might be obsessed with lowering taxes no matter what, even if it does make things, even if it might hurt things, right? And maybe a liberal has their own obsession with something political ahead of solutions. And it sounds like you and the work I loved about VJ and Urban Ventures is that it was about pragmatism, about getting things done. And it wasn't about an ideology or a politics behind it. It was about just results, solutions. What's going to work here?
Well, Shirley just said he's being right now stating straight facts. I love that the focus is in real action. Guy Bowling said the DAS programs need support and funding. And Shivy said we need to teach these kids coding, electrician, welding, and union jobs.
I want to talk about that for 2 seconds because that's the kind of community-led initiatives, right? So you talked about a couple just right there. Starting a coding program, right?
That's right.
Starting a place where kids can learn how to be, get a trade, plumbing and welding and whatnot. And this is a community-led initiative right here, right? It's like, don't wait for necessarily the city or something to come in and creating a coding academy. Let's get together and do it ourselves, right? And it's the same thing here with MADDADS. Like, don't wait for. We have the power. We have GoFundMe. We have the connection of the internet and social media to make these. You got computers, right?
That's right.
We're funding the boots on the ground tonight through GoFundMe. Please donate if you can to their GoFundMe to get more MADDADS out there and stop the bleeding. That's the focus of tonight. Yeah.
Well, a kind of a question/response is everyone here and individuals that's kind of responding, so
is it still on?
So my thing is that everyone is saying the same thing.
Yeah,
and I know that this is just kind of conversation, but we're also looking at a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
And I see these lanes that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Already there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already there. So when we have individuals that are responding and so on and so forth, we need a centralized hub, such as MADDADS, or wherever, for them to be able to, come or call or whatever it is, what's kind of the next step type of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we can get to the gentleman or the person who has this building that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So that we can further extend some of the programs that you're talking about, because whether it's Be the Voice, Face to Face, MADDADS, Mother's Love, I mean, there's a whole bunch of entities out there, that's doing some outstanding work. A lot of stuff that you're talking about, a lot of stuff that we know about, but we have to come together, and everyone not want to be, the chief, so to speak. Some of us has to be, the natives or the workers or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to be, culturally insensitive.
Everything. Like, there are groups that do different things, and you have to respect that there is a group that does something that may be a little bit different than what you do, but be willing to collaborate, not say, you do this, I do this, oh, but I heard she's doing this, so I'm going to take this on too. No, do what you're good at. And some people are good at being out there on the ground and boots on the ground. That's VJ and them. That's what they do. I would never try to be in that position. And some people don't realize that. And that's why we can't get together as a group is because
That's right.
too many people want to take over every lane
That's right.
instead of staying in your own lane and doing what works for you.
So I made a phone call to some so-called leaders in the black community, black people. Told me point blank, they don't work like that. That's exactly what they say. I'm trying to make a way out of no way, and you're gonna tell me we can't work like that.
Well, they don't work like that.
That's the type of thing that
How do we
I
work?
look at. Yeah, exactly. That's the type of thing that I look at and go, well, you don't really want to help.
You don't really want to do it. And the other
You
thing,
don't
we just
do it.
got a question. Are there any young people in the room? And if there are, can we hear from them? There's 2 young people in the room. Do you have anything to say? Because
Let's
they
do
want to
it.
hear
Yeah.
from the young
So-
people in the room. What's your ideas about, safety, about what's
Ebony,
going
these are
on?
yours. These are your kids,
These
right?
are my twin daughters.
Do you two want to come up here?
Yeah, let
They
them
lost
come
their
up.
brother, so.
Would you two come up and say a few words?
Yeah, just come on.
I don't know what to say. Say how
But
they
I
experience
got-
of losing
I
your
bet-
brother
One sec, I
affected
gotta
you
run.
and what
Okay.
you want to
I
say
gotta
different.
run, so
How
better
can people get in
donate.
touch with you?
You can get in touch with me. I'm on RevT on at RevT
On Twitter? or
on
Facebook?
Twitter, or you can go to my Facebook, Tim Christopher. You can get me through Berean Missionary Baptist Church. You can get me through shepherdswork.org. Either way, but I'm gonna be calling you guys, and hopefully we can sit down and we
We'll
can
talk.
come up with something. We'll
Yeah,
talk, right?
This is the start.
We'll
We
talk.
did.
Thank
We
you very
did.
much.
This stopped the
Give
bleeding.
myself
This
a
is the
minute.
first
Okay, I'll do
plank
that.
on the deck of
I'll
the
do that.
foundation.
Thank you guys for having me.
First
Thanks,
layer.
seriously. Thank you guys.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you for
Shirley
coming.
just came on and said that there's money has been allocated through City Council, so we don't know where it's going, but it's been allocated.
Okay.
Hey.
So
You okay?
Thank you.
No, you're
thank
good.
you for having a
No,
young
no problem.
person here.
What's your name?
Thank you.
Ajane.
Ajane?
Ajane.
Ajane. That's a beautiful name.
It's hard.
As
So-
a young person,
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna ask you this. You've been sitting here all night, listening, hearing your mom, hearing others speak. What's been running through your mind?
I don't know, I don't know how to say it. I don't know, my mom was saying, how they don't have, activities for kids and stuff. I remember we went camping and stuff and having activities.
How old are you?
I'm 25 now.
25. Okay.
Yep. We used to go to, camping and after school programs, and I see people now don't do it, and I can see the big difference in how I am and how other kids growing up are now. So I think that's a big problem now that they don't have programs for kids to be involved in.
So if there's not programs, and that the next question is how we get those programs, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Doing what we're doing now.
I think so.
Speaking.
I think so. That's kind of my philosophy.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was already a lot of ideas being, a lot of seeds being planted just this evening.
Yeah.
Have you been in a room like this where the people discussing all these kinds of ideas?
No.
Are you encouraged by this, or do you
Yeah,
think
it
it's
makes
kind
me think more, because at first I really didn't really didn't think about it. It really didn't hit home until hearing everybody else talk and hearing her story. It's just, you sit down and you really think oh, this is life now. People think it's really normal to live like this, and it shouldn't be this way.
Yeah, you're 25 now. You gotta.
Yeah.
Right. It's it took me until my 20s to realize, oh man, I gotta live my adult life now.
I
It's
know, right?
Then oh, what's this world like out there? Well, talk about. Well, actually, how familiar are you with MADDADS? Did you know much about them before tonight?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk
Yes.
about your experience with them, or your impressions of them, or how you've seen them help the community?
I just known them from coming around the sites at my brother's sites and my cousin's site. My mom was saying before, and I could see the difference. There's no arguing when they're around, and it's just always good times and laughing. People always laughing and stuff, having a good time when they're around. So it's if we had more of them around all day, this world would be peaceful.
wow, thank you.
Yeah. Again.
She didn't say the city. She said the world.
She didn't say the city, she said world.
$30 saves the world. Boom. That's it. No, the link, for those who've been watching the whole time, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I know there's people that tune in a little bit later here. This is a initiative tonight with we've talked about a lot of things, but the one focus is to stop the bleeding, and to do that, more boots on the ground, more MADDADS out there. The link for the GoFundMe is in the description of this live event. Please consider going on there and chipping in. $30 gets another hour of security out there. And if there were MADDADS out in these places that we've seen these headlines about, those headlines wouldn't have been written. Right? It's really that simple.
But if I can kind of chime in on that,
Yeah, go ahead.
MADDADS with all of these other components in these lanes
Yeah.
that needs to also be involved. You know, community members. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be involved, and I cannot, and we cannot stress it enough when we say everybody.
I think that'll be a good thing to close actually this whole thing tonight on. Can you hold that sentiment for like 2 minutes?
All right.
I want to ask you one more thing. Like, are you comfortable opening up and talking about like how your brother's death affected you and what that's been like and what that was like having him pass and all that?
It's been hard because he was like the glue to the family. Like everybody, when they hear Dre or Andre, they always smile. They always knew he would always like be the life of the party. So it's like hard because it's like now what? And then like my niece,
Yeah.
like she just know dad, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all tight knit, so it's like even the good memories are still hard, you know.
They're especially hard.
Yeah,
And they
it's
all
like,
look alike too.
yeah, I mean, like when you're everyday part of your life, and then just abruptly just taken from you, it's just hard to just, you know, get back in the groove of everything. Like they were saying, like our lives has totally changed. Like the things I did 4 years ago, I don't even have the energy to do, to think, you know, I just don't. So it's just
I'm
like,
not trying to put her out there, but she loved wine. She don't even drink it no more because ever since then.
That's so funny.
So that's,
I don't do it either. I used to love
so
it.
that's
And
like changed her.
yeah.
Wow. So Chevy asked a question for the young lady. Where are our deficits in this work, and where are the big gaps? What's getting in the way for youth? What's getting in the way for youth to... he's writing some other... oh my God, I lost
What's
him.
getting in the way, you think, of youth? Like, so when you see your peers, you probably have friends that you went to high school with that are now down another path that maybe it wouldn't be good that they were going down. Like, what do you think what was missing for them?
What's getting in the way of youth getting involved in the current program?
I think it's just peer pressure. Like the youth now, they don't want to like be embarrassed to like stand up for like the world, I guess. Like they just...
Did you have that
Yeah.
peer pressure
No.
in high school? What was different? I mean, you're not that much older than the teenagers now.
I don't know.
Where'd you go to
I
high
was
school?
Park Center in Brooklyn Park.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a quiet person. I don't know. I guess that's me. I guess
Yeah.
I don't hang out with people a lot. I don't go outside. So.
That's what I think you said that in the interview. I remember the interview very well, and I think Andre's fiance said the same thing too. She just kind of, you guys just stayed away from it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the community, but we're not so much on negative stuff. We're uplifting people and stuff. And like with my son Andre, now that people come to me after his death and stuff, like all the stories that I hear about the things that he did for people, like his aunties, and there was a shooting that happened at by my mom's house and stuff, and the people were kind of after my niece and stuff. And when my son Andre found out about it, he went and sat in front of their house for like 2 weeks. They didn't even know he was out there,
wow.
like watching their house.
Wow.
And they said they kept hearing a loud car like come and then sit for a while, then just leave. And one day they were leaving the house and the car started up and it was him. And he was like, yeah, I've been watching. You know, I've been making sure, protecting you guys. Like, it was so much stuff that he did for people, you know, like, I didn't even know.
He was a mad dad.
Like, he was, like, for elderly, like, yeah, I mean, like, he knew people that was 60 and 70 that I didn't even know he knew that he were doing stuff for. And going to cut their grass,
Nick.
taking their garbage
Nick.
out. You know, just you know, it's like you guys, you just don't know how y'all affected the community. Period. How good of a person he was. Like, I'm shocked at the stories I hear about things he did and looked out for people and never, you know, tried to get publicity or wanted any, you know, fame or notoriety of the things that he was doing. It was all low key. Nobody never knew. And they were like, they come to me all the time, like, you raised a great son.
Yeah.
He was very polite, very respectful. You know, he would get on his little cousins. He's not much older than them, but they looked up to him like, you know, an older brother, a dad. Like, like my sister-in-law would call him and be like, hey, the boys, and he would be on it and they would respect him. You know, he's only like a couple years older than them. It's just like, you guys just don't know how much y'all took away from this community, that how good he could have been. And, you know, you just don't understand the aftermath, how much it tears up a family. It's like my whole family is depressed behind this. So many of my nieces and nephews got on drugs, harsh drugs, and that's the only way they can cope, you know? And it's just like sad because now we're dealing with this and we're still trying to deal with this and everything else. So we just need to look at the whole picture of what it's doing to our whole community. When you take one person, even if you don't know them, it affects us all. Like when I worked with her mom just a short time when she was at North Memorial, and she ended up leaving a little bit after I got there. But that affected me. You know, I didn't know her personally, but that affected me. And then when my son, and then with their 2-year-old cousin, and then when Juju, then my niece and my nephew, like, it affects us hard, and it's hard to live each day. You just don't know the struggle.
And
it is a struggle.
It keeps adding up.
It does.
And you know, that's why I don't respond as quickly to homicides as I used to, because they're adding up. They're adding up in my brain. I'm like, there's so many now. 20 years of that.
And us as advocates have to step back sometimes because we have to take care of our mental just as much as we want others to take care of theirs.
Right. So I want to be there if a family wants me, but I ain't rushing to get there unless you need me.
So you're there. You're there for your niece now.
Yeah. Yes.
Does she live with you at home there?
Yeah. She lived with her mom, but we're all 5 minutes away from each other and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, we're all there for her. She's a pistol.
I hope. Well,
Blessed to have her.
You talked about the younger generation. I don't know. I guess I hope they can meet more people like you, have more people like you in their class as friends, and Well, thanks for coming on and sharing your heart. On this
let's give her a big round. You got the youth. You got it. You got what you're asking for. You ready to close it out?
Yeah, VJ, Antoine, can you guys come around here and let's take this home.
Let's take it home.
Let's take this home. And then, ladies, if you'd stick around for a group photo afterward.
VJ, do you want me to hold that for you?
I can just hold like this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shine on, shine on.
Yeah.
BJ don't want nobody to hold his phone.
Antoine, you want to start with closing comments?
Oh man, you don't put me out here like that.
Or VJ.
Let him start.
All right.
Oh, it's been kind of a very interesting, emotional, inspiring, a lot of things just within this 2-hour, conversation piece that we've had, and getting more donations, more boots on the ground, getting the word out there that we have to. It's imperative, that all of these entities out here, community members and whomever else just has any type of investment or who just cares about their communities, be involved in this initiative. I guess I don't know exactly what more I can say other than this is a collaborative initiative. It has to be done in unison, and in unity.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some times where you're not going to agree with everything, but it's okay to agree to disagree. But if you are truly looking at the big picture, and that is stopping the bleeding and the rebirth of Minneapolis, the way that a lot of us know it, about doing something, at one point, and before you made it home, your mom knew about it. And being at home when the street lights came on, you know what I'm saying? Being in earshot of your mom, and you would always hear, and I mean, just having that respect for your elders.
Sounds like healing. To me, it sounds like healing the community. Like
the whole community does need to be healed.
Yeah.
That's part of it. These kids are hurting.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
That's what I saw in the school.
And that's what's going on. These people are out here hurting people because they're hurt.
Yep.
I sit on the panel for the group violence intervention program for the Hennepin County.
Okay.
And in those groups, I sit with men that we know are shooters, or that are known as possibly the next victims that are out here. They are hurting because they have watched children be shot. They have watched their friends being shot. They have had no support when they go to these funerals. They have had no support other than people that are their peers that don't know how to deal with that pain themselves. So the only way they know to deal with it is to go out there and create some more pain for somebody else.
Right.
And do you and that's my point. As I'm speaking and I kind of get choked up or lost of words or whatever the case may be, someone else in the room is able to pick up, what I'm saying, where I'm leaving off,
that's teamwork.
And that's what I mean by, we all have to work together, and we can do this. We have the knowledge, we have the resources, we have the skills, we have everything I believe that we need. We need to be able to put it together and make this work. It's just that simple. And I know that you stated earlier that certain things is a little bit more
bureaucratic.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the essence of real large organizations. Is they're going to be kind of slow. It's hard to turn a battleship, right? That kind of thing. But we're little, we're nimble, right? So this is good.
And I get it, but the system.
Yeah.
It cannot sit here and turn slowly. We don't have time for this to be turning slowly.
We don't have to wait. That's why we're taking.
We don't have to wait. We don't need to wait. We should not be waiting. Hell, we've been waiting for a long time.
Too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
And this has to happen now, and it has to happen in every faction that we are struggling in.
Help it happen. The link to the GoFundMe for MADDADS is in the link. For this live streamathon, please, if you're watching and you're on my account, my profile, consider a donation. $30 gets an extra hour of security. Tonight we're starting. Tonight is about stopping the bleeding, but we know the conversation is much bigger than just that. That's just the start, right?
Absolutely.
But it's an imperative start, right? To save lives now, to stop the violence now. What do you got to say, man?
Well, I'm going to say I want to thank Beeks for directing the show because he's telling everybody what to do. But I noticed something about him. When he was in security, he wasn't that forceful. But when he became a police officer, and after that, he's always telling people what to do. I love him. I love that brother,
That
man.
is not true.
I love it. It is true, ain't it? See, everybody knows it is. But
I did it in a good way.
but I appreciate that. And if we're going to stop the bleeding, he's absolutely right. And I think the mentality that we have to stop having, especially as people of color, that it's not one organization. We're just doing this to support MADDADS right now. Tomorrow it'll be another organization. Next time it'll be another organization. So let's stop being jealous of each other. Let's stop being competitive of each other. Let's stop hating on each other, and let's start loving each other. I think about it when I look around and I see 3 Somali malls. Wait a minute, how long have we been here? Where's our mall at? I think about little stuff like that. Like if we came together, there's no reason why there's not enough money for us to fund all our programs. All our programs should be funded at a level where we have the admin, we have the space. Look at this room. This room is crowded. We've been here 21 years. We should have our own building. But there's always so many barriers. And I think it's important for us to look at Stop looking at what other people are doing and help each other do what we need to do. And I think, Beast, that's what you were saying. Let's look at each other and help each other do what we do best. MADDADS is going to do what they do best, and and face to face is going to help do what they do best. I was on his board. He tried to work me too, but I'm gonna just tell you, this brother believes in his dreams, and he's a dreamer. He's not going to stop, just like me. And so I think it's important that we all continue to work together, continue to share, continue to support each other. Because you know what? I got my membership for the NAACP. I haven't been to a meeting, but I bought my membership because I want to practice what I preach. Okay? I tried on blackout on the 7th, supposed to be a blackout. Don't buy anything unless you buy from blacks. I did my best to do that. I'm doing everything in my power. This is a critical time right now, and it's a time for us all to come together and work together as a family. We got to rebuild, we got to readjust, we got to restructure, and we really got to get prayed up. Don't leave God out of this, because if you leave God out, you're leaving a major thing out. So don't leave God out. Hey, Chevy has really been in here chiming in on here, and I want to thank Guy Bowling and Kevin, the coach Jackson, all you guys for chiming in, man, and being an audience on here. Share this with your friends. Tell them to go to our website and make a contribution. I'd really support that and really appreciate that. And I want to thank Beeks. This is my buddy, man. Look at it. I love that beard, man. And I thank you so much for being on, man.
Hey, you're welcome, bro.
All right. And my brother, thank you for creating this platform for us.
Yeah,
thank you so much. The work you do around the world, man. People don't know. You're pretty much a silent giant until we put you on here and show your face. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be on VJ's Facebook live feed right here. Yeah, that's an honor. That's an honor.
It's famous today.
It's like being a picture on your desk or something, right? It's a real honor. It's a real honor to work with you, all of you here, for being here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah. I just it was an inspiration, and I acted on it. Right? It's really that simple, right?
About, yeah.
And I had all these hesitations to do this.
And we got one of the MADDADS right there. Give it up to Wallace.
Yeah, man.
Straight from the streets.
Yeah. Hey, you want to get?
All right.
Gosh, I would almost like to have you on for a couple of seconds. Just ask you a couple.
Well,
of
they got to
questions.
go.
But we got to run.
He's got to go.
Yeah,
but you can have him on.
We'll do another video.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do another video sometime.
All
anyway, I don't know what's happening from here exactly. This is all very new and fresh. We had the idea to do this. We're doing it. We did it. It was great, right? This was better than I hoped for. Yeah. And I think a lot of us can agree, like the conversation, the energy, the feedback, the donations, it's all been great. I don't know where it's going, but it's going somewhere. Stay tuned, be in touch. We'll have more to report. One thing I do know, this is something to build on, right? That's right. This was something, and now we're going to do something else, right? Right. I'm not going to let this one die on the vine.
That's right.
I'm putting the challenge out there to every organization, every community member, everyone who has anything to do with anything. I'm putting a challenge out there to you tonight to not only to donate, but to just contact VJ. So then, therefore, we should be able to set up, some type of next meeting at a much larger place, because the place should be packed like it's a freaking Minnesota football game on a Sunday afternoon. And we need to be putting some stuff on paper. We need to be filling these lanes, so then therefore we can start moving forward with the actions of not only this initiative, but all of the other initiatives that other people got going on as well. But we got to do this together. I cannot stress it enough. And if you think I'm telling you something to do something, as y'all say, then I'm telling you.
That's right. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing.
I'm going to end this with, what's your name?
Wallace.
Wallace. Wallace just came back from being out there doing a patrol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So this is what we're funding tonight. This is it. This is the guy who we're raising money for. One of VJ's many men, right? Great men that go out there.
Yes.
How was tonight?
Well, tonight was it was all right. It was kind of quiet out, but
good. That's because you were out there.
Yeah, we've been at the Powderhorn area there, and they're starting to move out all the people out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tonight we found out that they were moving out the natives out of there.
Okay, that I actually cut windows.
Yeah.
The Native American leaders are saying we got to get out of this place because it's out of control there.
Yeah, so they're out there now. They're getting all their the natives out of there right now, and I guess they're leaving everybody else behind. You know.
Well, they're looking out for their own in a way, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
looking out for their own. But,
Yeah. It's.
But yeah, it's you know, we have a real nice presence wherever we go. You know, they pretty much respect us. You know, and you know we respect them. You know, and that's how we get our things done out there.
Yeah, the whole point of this was to tell people that the presence of the men in the green shirts and the women in the green shirts out there.
They trust you guys because they know that you're not gonna hurt them.
It's like the volume gets turned way down. The volume of violence gets turned way down, and that's what we all want. That's what most of my Facebook friends are white, right? They're not in the black community, but they see these headlines, and they're up in arms. Like they're sad, right? A lot of them live right here too, in Powderhorn and whatnot, and.
But can I interject on something here? If we could have that same power, we see the marches, we see the rage, we see all of that for a police brutality.
Yeah.
If we could have that for the blood that is shed in our own community by our own and from people in our community, I don't want to say black on black, but I want to say the violence in general in our community. If we could have the same rage that we have for a police officer killing one of ours, we could be so much more powerful.
It's funny you said that because my friend just called me saying the same thing, like why we can't march for your son, why we can't do this,
we won't show up. We won't show up for that.
And another thing,
It's terrible that we don't.
If we can show up like that for something like that, I mean, why can't we show up like that to vote? Can't say that enough.
Another thing I want to say too is Wallace is a perfect example. A man that's been shot, a former drug dealer, former everything. Now has turned his life around and given back to the community. Give him a big round for that. Yeah, all right.
Thanks so much for what you do.
Chevy said on here, I can assist in leading a focused conversation using top facilitation methods. I need a meeting with a couple of leaders to design it, and then 1+ meeting with collaborators, depending on numbers. So he wants to help. Chevy Faye. Chevy, we're going to contact you.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Wallace, for all that you do, man. Yeah,
thanks,
keep
Wallace.
it up.
Love
Thanks
you,
so
brother.
much for chiming in tonight,
everybody.
for watching, for being part of this 2-hour stream-a-thon. Have a good night. Please chip into MADDADS at their GoFundMe. And I'll see you on Facebook and hopefully out there in the real world again real soon. Thanks, everyone, for participating.
Is that on mine they didn't understand?
All right.
Yeah, because